the specs.
So good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to Cannon Fodder. Yeah, that's what it is, on the Easy Talk. And it's not often you get to, how can I say this, royalty on the channel. We've got royalty now. We've got John the Geezer Gooner. And we've got the original Godfather himself, El Tel. El Tel, oh yeah. How's you doing, matey?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm working my way between here and Ireland. There's sometimes I'm in Ireland and sometimes here. So it's good.
Nice
good
one.
Love.
Nice one. John the Geezer.
Easy Talk. Big up, Alex, mate. Good to see you again. Yeah, all good in the hood, mate. Getting forward to Christmas. I've been down Itching today. It's a lovely little market town, and funny enough, I bumped into a lady on the market stall down there. She reckons her son done all the drawings and that on the new boards and that around the Emirates.
Wow!
And he's and he's a Spurs fan.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't think she was. She was a genuine lady. She worked.
I was surrounded by Spurs fans today. I'll tell you, man, it was
awful. I've lived with them all my life, mate.
Yeah.
I've lived in there, man.
God, yeah. Listen, guys, let's go cracking. Let's get cracking. A little bit in reverse order. I want to talk about this guy over here. It's just getting played out, isn't it? Getting played out. John, I want to go to you first. Is there anything that Aaron can do to get back to the #1 spot? Is there anything he can do?
Is there anything he can do? Yeah. Put in a good shift tomorrow, good hard shift. He's got the fan. I say he's a fan's favourite. Do you know what I mean? I say he's a fan's favourite. All he can do is get his head down and do his best. Raya, this is only my opinion. Raya is the Arsenal #1. You know, there's no question about that in my eyes. I've been a goalkeeper at a very low level. I know a lot of high level goalkeepers, coaches, and that. This #2, #1's like, yeah, it's a load of rubbish, mate. Do you know what I mean? There's only one keeper. Did Pat Jennings have a #2? Do you know what I mean? Did David Seaman have a? I mean. Did Pat Jennings have another #1? Did David Seaman have a #1? No, they didn't. Maybe give that coach a bung that plays for. Maybe give that coach a bung. You know what I mean? The Spanish coach, the Brentford one. It might be all right there. You know what I mean? Ray's obviously his favourite. I'm always going to big up Rambo. I see no difference. I don't know why he's been. I don't know why he's been stripped of it. That's the way I see it, Alex. But you know. He'll have a good game. I'm pretty sure he's going to have a good professional game tomorrow, and the fans will give him a really rapturous applause. But I don't know what more he can do because he ain't their favourite, Alex. I really don't think he can. What can he do? Save 5 penalties tomorrow or something? People go on about, there's 2 #1s. Put it this way then. If there's a final, if we get in a final, who goes in goal? Who's going to be the #1? It ain't him. It's Raya, isn't it? It's obvious, Raya. It's blatantly obvious from day one that Raya is the #1. He's going to want to play for England. It's going to be so frustrating. And Southgate won't play him unless he's the #1 for Arsenal. So I don't know what's going through his head at the moment. Do you know what I mean? It must be really disheartening for him. But as a professional, he's just got to get his head down. Get on with it, do the best he can, and maybe it'll turn around for him. And, Raya might get injured. I'm not wishing injury on the bloke, but these things happen, and then all of a sudden, he's back to #1 again, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? He might get a lucky break. But in my eyes, Alex, I've said it all along, Raya is firmly the #1. Rambo is firmly #2. And unfortunately, I don't think his dad getting involved has done him any favours. I agree what his dad said, but I don't think he should have said it. I think he should have just kept out of it because that's obviously just going to aggravate the situation. But it's his dad. You can't blame him. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
Maybe I'm
yeah.
wrong. Maybe there is 2 number ones, but personally, mate, I don't see it. But Rambo, he'll always be my number one. Go on, Rambo. Go on, my son.
Tell thoughts, man.
Well, Inaki Kanya, I think you pronounce his name, our goalkeeping coach that originally was at Brentford, came over, and he's obviously in Arteta's ear all the time, talking about this Raya. I prefer tall goalkeepers. I like Nick Pope. I like big goalkeepers. Even our Argentinian bloke who's done some stupid things in his time. I think he got involved in fighting the crowd in the Argentina Brazil match. He's a hothead, but and what he was doing with that World Cup trophy, I don't know. but I bet his wife didn't have to give him hell for that one.
He was abusing it somewhere along the
line. But on the bigger stage, you know. But I prefer Rambo. I think he's an honest guy. He all these little goalkeepers are fine, but they don't get the ball that is put right into the corner of the net, either high up, left or right, or low down. I like Nick Pope, as I said earlier, and he's an England goalkeeper. He's one of the trio of goalkeepers England call on a regular basis. Of course, Raya's now playing for Spain, but I don't know. It just feels like nepotism or favoritism or something. It's like, you know, I don't know. And also the other thing about Rambo is he's terribly honest. Look, he's younger than Raya, and he's very honest. He said there the other day about his lacking in concentration, and he said that's why I chat to the crowd, and you know, and it keeps my concentration going because I can't just stand there and only get 2 shots in the space of 45 minutes. And I think Arteta is a bit of a hard taskmaster. I think he sees that as an area of sort of weakness. And especially, I mean, the thing about Rambo is he's got a very open personality, you know, and I'm not sure that Arteta goes for that. I think he's, you know, he's moving on as a manager. He's learning. I don't think he'll ever make this error again, having 2 number one goalkeepers. Absolutely mad. But yeah, I prefer Rambo. I like his character. He's had a bit of a rough time at home. I know his wife lost a baby and they've now had a child, so that's great. His dad should, as John said, his dad shouldn't have touched it, but you know, he probably got, you know, doorstepped by these reporters and spoke out of turn, really. But there's not a lot to choose between Raya and Ramsdale. Maybe Raya's better with his feet, but he's a good bit older, and I'm sure Ramsdale's got a higher ceiling than him. But so little bit between the two. I think he's blotted his copybook now by talking about he struggles a little bit with concentration and all those things. And I think Arteta's a tick chart man. I think he's got a list of little boxes there. You know, can he do this? Can he do that? Is he good with his feet? Is he good at stopping low shots to his left and all that stuff? And if you add up all the ticks, I'm afraid there's more in Raya's box than Rambo. But sometimes that doesn't tell you the whole thing about a player. And I like Ramsdale's persona. I like his the way the crowd love him. I really like. And you know, the last short goalkeeper we had, talking about Raya, is probably Pat Jennings, who could pick the ball out the air with one hand. So most goalkeepers tend to be at least 6'2" now. The guy who plays for Atletico, he's 6'2", and he's about the shortest real top ace goalkeeper around. So I'm not a Raya fan. I'm sorry. I mean, if he wins us the cup in May by saving a few penalties, then I'll take it all back. But I do prefer Rambo. But you know, I'm not running Arsenal. And I'm not Spanish, and it isn't a Spanish keeper. I mean, I have to be honest. If we had an Irish keeper, I'd be asking for him.
Well, that's the thing. There is a bit of favouritism. I think Raya was always on the radar. They wanted it the season before, didn't they? Through that Spanish, but they also that keeper also brought in Randerson, didn't he? Do you know that didn't
Do you know
work
that's
out too well, did it?
That's actually a very good point. What idiot! I remember thinking of that because when you saw Runarsson play, I remember thinking, what tick boxes are they? Is he coming up with all the ticks for? He was obviously bang average, and that's being polite for him, you know. So I don't know. I don't like Inaki Kanya. I don't know what he's doing. If you watch him on the sideline, he's always near Arteta. I mean, I don't know why he's so close to him because he's not going to affect anything when the sort of match is going. So he's just, I got a feeling that Arteta, he's obviously a young manager. He likes to have his friends around him, but I would be telling that Inaki Kanya just go into the dressing room and make yourself a cup of tea or something. Just go away for a while. I'm getting a cauliflower ear.
Fellas, if it continues until the end of the season, and by that I mean, like, you know, Ramsdale, literally, there's no way he can get into any of the games in the Premier League. Would you think about he probably might need to move on to save his international career?
I dread him going to Tottenham. I think he might go to Chelsea. I've read some reports about Chelsea wanting him. But if he went to Tottenham, I mean, crazy. I don't think he would. I think somebody would have a word in his shell like and say, don't go across North London. But he could well have a great career at Chelsea.
And for you, John, would you?
Well, on one hand, I think Rambo loves Arsenal, right? Well, he does love Arsenal. He loves the crowd. And I don't think the last thing he want to do is leave Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? I think he's come from non-league football. You know, he's worked his way through everything. He's done it the hard way. Do you know what I mean? He ain't been mollycoddled. Nor is Raya. He's done it the same way. So yeah, I can see him not wanting to go, but for his professional career, and if he wants to be England's number one,
he's got to go.
He's got to go because,
yeah,
as Tel says, the Spanish coach wants Raya as the number one, and so so does Arteta. This is facts, mate. You know, this is they ain't gonna say it. It's the Arsenal PR, but they're both competing for the international keeper spots at the moment. He's got his one. Rambo, he ain't got his one, and it's just like anything as well. Imagine someone coming and kicking you out of your job after you've been loyal all them years, and then someone else gets your job, and they're like, "That's all right. When he's off sick, you can do what he's doing." Do you know what I mean? It's disheartening. It's psychological. So he ain't probably going to say what he really wants to say because he's a professional guy. But if he's ambitious, I'm telling you, mate, he should just leave Arsenal as quick as he can because he's getting dragged. He's getting dragged behind now. In my way of thinking, they're taking the mickey out of the bloke. Do you know what I mean? They're just leading him on, and I don't think Rambo's a mug. There'll be plenty of people after him. Southgate ain't going to give him. Southgate has just said he ain't going to play him in goal unless he's playing. So I reckon Rambo. Let's have a little bet, right? If he gets 6 games this season, I'll be surprised.
Yeah.
Tell, do you think we should have kept Matt Turner? Should we have kept, Matt Turner?
Nah.
No?
He weren't good enough to play for Arsenal, mate. I don't know what that was all about, to be honest with you.
He always reminded me of that John Burridge. He was a bit of a roly-poly around the middle.
Fair play to him. He's doing all right at Forest, but no, he wasn't an Arsenal goalkeeper. As Tel says, and I'll say this again, I've said it plenty of times on Twitter, Emi Martinez, as it stands now, is better than both of them keepers.
Absolutely.
I'll put my life on that. I don't care what anyone says. I'm not saying they can't get better than him, but at the moment, Martinez is the number one out of them 3.
It's making me wonder whether, because of Martinez being a bit of a hothead, I think
that's what happened. He's an hothead, so like, see you later. He was offered he'd been at Arsenal 8 years. He was promised that he's going to get the number 1 job, and he ain't. They said, no, you've got to get in number 2 behind Leno, mate. He weren't having none of it. Ramsdale's now getting the same thing, isn't he? And Ramsdale's only been there a couple of seasons. He got him into the Champions League. Arteta don't take any prisoners. But personally, I think he's listening to that coach too much. You know. But both of them keepers can be bettered. You know, they ain't the best keepers in the world. They're not the best I've seen at Arsenal. But I do love Ramsdale because he's a great entertainer and he loves the team. I'm sure Raya does. He's a different personality. I don't wish him any harm. Good luck.
But John, what often pulls teams through, and we've had this with when we had Tony Adams and Seaman and all them. What often pulls you through when you're trying to win cups and win the league is team spirit. And I would have thought that Ramsdale is a definite better team spirit guy. You know,
100%.
Whereas the other guy just appears distant. You know.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tel. He does lift the spirit. I mean, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes, and we didn't know until this season about when he got kicked. Ramsdale got kicked by that Spurs player. His wife was having a miscarriage. You know what I mean? They're human beings, so that's got to have an effect on him. And all the sons, all that's on his mind. He's a young bloke. He gets to the beginning of the season. We've got 2 number ones now. We've got 2 number ones now, Aaron. Don't worry, you'll get a game every now and then. What you've had 2. How many games has he had now? 2. And he's only got this game because Raya can't play in it, isn't it? Let's face facts. If Raya was available, he'd be playing today. And rightly so, because I don't think they should mix and match them. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, Ramsdale wouldn't get me a sniff of the game if it weren't because of that loan deal. But he must be disheartened. Do you know what I mean? There's no way he ain't disheartened.
But John, isn't Mikel Arteta just not? He's copying the same formula as Pep Guardiola, because Pep Guardiola changed like 4 or 5 goalkeepers until he stuck with this goalkeeper. So isn't Arteta just doing the same thing that Pep Guardiola is doing by creating competition and still thinking?
He is right, but let's face facts. Let's go back. He got rid of the best keeper in the world, Emi Martinez.
Yeah.
Arsenal fans are going to crucify me this, but fine. He was the best keeper in the world. We got rid of him. We let him go. Whatever the ins and outs of it.
We said the same thing, Tel.
We said the same thing. Myself and Alex were saying that all the time.
Yeah.
And now he's tearing up trees.
Him getting the up with Arsenal.
Yeah.
He's promised everything under the sun. Wasn't giving it. But that's all history now. Poor old Ramsdale. He's the number 2. You know what I mean? He ain't another number 1, and that's just got to be disheartening for him. You know what I mean? It really has. I think the only hope is if Raya gets injured, he might get back in. But maybe I'm wrong. You know what I mean? But can you see him back in the? Can you see him getting the number 1 in the Champions League?
Listen, John. Even if Ramsdale,
he might get a game.
No.
Yeah. Now, as you say, even if Ramsdale saved 5 penalties tomorrow, Raya would be straight back in. Yeah,
absolutely.
Say we get Stevenage in the FA Cup, might get a game. You know what I mean? I can't see it. I feel sorry for the bloke, but he has got a lot of years left in him. He's got a lot of years left in him. So if he's patient, he might just hang around and be the number 2. He's getting good money for it, isn't he?
Yeah.
But, England. If he wants that England job, he's going to leave.
Yeah.
Guys, don't blame him.
Let's go on to the next segment. It's going to be a bite-sized, easy talk. Isn't this guy here? Is he not the best signing that we've made? I don't know. Between the next 3 and 5 years, I just love this guy. Left foot, right foot header. Love him.
I love him. I absolutely love him. He's got the 2-footedness of Santi Cazorla.
Yeah.
And before that, little Georgie Armstrong. He's got, and he's so quick inside the box, really fast feet. I absolutely love him. I think he's a great, what I'd call an inside forward. Really, he's like, if he had a big guy. And listen, if you played him alongside a 6'3" or 4" modern day Niall Quinn, you are talking about a phenomenal strike force there, because he will pick up all the little knockdowns, all the bits and pieces, and because he's 2-footed, and he's got 2 good feet, he can really lash it into the net. I think he's a lovely player. Why we're not playing him on a regular basis, I have no idea. No idea.
Love him.
Yeah, I
Go
do.
on.
Same as Terrell Lover, geezer. He should be a starter every time for me. Do you know what I mean? But I also love his songs. Let Me Entertain You and I'm Loving Angels instead. I think he's got a good career ahead of him.
Do you know the only thing I'd say, lads? He definitely needs to win them bags under the eyes. He definitely needs a few nights kicked, doesn't he? Just if his wife, somebody should send him to bed early.
I know how he feels. It's all that singing he does on stage, isn't it? At night, he's got 2 jobs, man.
He's moonlighting.
The Emirates, he's at Wembley. Loving Angels instead. No, but seriously, yeah, what a great player. The stats speak for themselves, you know.
Yeah.
You know, he's come on, he's had an impact totally the opposite to what Hazard's done, you know.
Yeah.
You know, Hazard's had to rely on people giving him a penalty, isn't they? You know, to get him on the score sheet. I think Trossard's done it all himself.
That fella Havertz looks like one of the biggest mistakes ever. I mean, I remember when Bergkamp came, he took about 10 or 11 games to start scoring. And once he scored, then he settled down. And then nobody could pinpoint exactly what Bergkamp was. Was he a forward? Was he a play in a hole? He was a number 10 or a number 8. But whether this, I mean, they've tried Havertz everywhere except goal, by the sounds of it. He's played left back, right back, up front, right midfield. I've watched the best stuff he's played for previous clubs, and it's always been where Ødegaard plays. It's always on the right-hand side of midfield, coming in on his stronger left foot. Well, how many more players can you put in that corner of the pitch?
Now, I know John, I know how you feel about Kai Havertz. Got to support him, but I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen, John.
Kai Delilah, isn't it? No, Alex, my point with Hazard's was just give him a chance, right? He's had a few games now. He ain't done nothing particularly wrong, but he ain't shook up no trees, is he? Do you know what I mean?
No.
Trossard's £5 million. 65 million.
Ridiculous. This is what I do fear is happening in the Arsenal with Arteta and Chelsea. Are these agents, are they sort of too intertwined with the managers? Are they too pally? Do you know what I mean? Are they getting little deals out of it? I don't know.
Of course they are. Of course they are.
They're getting a little backhander, brown envelopes, you know. 65 mil, you can't justify it. He's a great player. He's played for Germany, scored in the Premier League. But I don't know, mate. I don't know. I'm still backing him, but he's got about another 5 games to prove himself to me, and he's lucky. Why is he getting the luxury of having 5 games to prove him? 20 odd games to prove himself when other players don't.
Yeah.
I mean, we've moved other players on after 3 or 4 games.
That's a good point.
We have, haven't we? We've just moved them on, loaned them out. Oh, you're not fitting in. But with this Hazard, it's his master plan. They're sticking to it, whatever happens. You know what I mean? That's Arteta's master stroke. He's got to stick by this, man, whatever happens now. And that'll either make or break him. So Hazard needs to he's on about 60% for me. He needs another 40% out of the bloke. Do you know what I mean? That 60% ain't really good enough. So yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you feel this, John. He looks as though he's frightened. He's frightened of the physical side of the game, and he's not going in right where it hurts. Do you know?
He's lacking confidence.
Well, I think he lost. I think playing for Chelsea has slaughtered him. You know, with all what went on last season, and since Abramovich left, you know what I mean. I don't blame him for that. He was in like a terrible sort of side, you know, but that's no excuse. He's a professional. He gets good money. He gets paid to do a job. Do it. Just get out there and do it, you know. he's got plenty of backing. Like I say, they give him the penalty to give him his confidence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not got to score 15 goals a season, is he? He's just like he's got to shake a few more trees up, man, to prove himself, and he's not endeared himself to the fans. Once he does that, he might get a bit more confidence. But I don't know, man. I really don't know. He's a tough one to call, isn't he? But for 65 million, it should be happening now. Simple as.
Well, if you look at his game, he's 6'4". He's a big guy, right? He's one of our biggest players. He never wins the ball in the air, and then he's got this sweet left foot, but he's got to be a good way back in midfield before he's got a chance to sort of run and build up pace and start to move past people. I don't know what kind of tick boxes Arteta used to sort of find him, but it doesn't look right.
Brown envelopes tell, won't it?
It's got to be. Got to be. Got to be.
I'll have a percentage of that 65 mil, mate.
Let's go to
allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Let's go to the live chat. There's been a few comments here. We've got one from Geordie who says, "Away the lads!" All right, wrong channel, mate.
Away, lad.
Yeah.
I've been learning all these songs for this wedding I'm playing at. I should have been. I've been doing all these Geordie songs. So
have you?
The Arsenal one, of course. Yeah. I've been doing Bladen Races and I'm coming home, Newcastle, and all that. Yeah.
I hope they're paying you a king's ransom, Tel.
I hope so. Well, I'll get a free dinner out of it anyway.
Ah, there you go. There you go.
They have free the same pet.
Right, in the last segment, so there's a bit of business to be done tomorrow against the Bees. The Bees go against the Cannon. Can a bee beat a cannon, Tel? No, it can't, can it?
Well, it's very hard to read because sometimes we've looked as though, we're going to beat Brentford and then come a cropper. I was at the one last season. Do you remember the one where they now say that the Brentford goal was offside?
Yep.
Yeah. And I was with my mate from County Clare and his son, and the son was mortified. He was a young teenager lad, and they'd flown over and the whole shebang for it, and now it looks as though we should have won that match, and really that's when it all began to go a bit belly up. So, do you know, English soccer, maybe worldwide, it's got itself into a total mess with this VAR. It's neither up to date, good enough, or they haven't got enough cameras on. It's very worrying because no wonder Arteta was abusing the ref. Well, he wasn't abusing him, but he was talking from the heart, which is very much a Latin thing to do. But now he's in trouble. VAR is either corrupt or it's an incompetent system. I suspect it's possibly both. And it makes a mockery because if you know that we should have won that, then we would have been 2 more points, and that was the beginning of us beginning to crumble away. So they can't, once they make these errors. You know what? I'm just going to interrupt myself now. Your team scores a goal, and then you cheer, and then you go, hang on a minute, and then they check it. And 4 or 5 minutes later, you either cheer or you're fed up. That isn't in Irish hurling. They have this thing called Hawkeye, and that generally works, and it tells you if the ball goes between the posts, But that's as far as it goes because you can almost not be offside in hurling. Actually, talking about that, did you see Arteta? Arsene Wenger's got a new system they're thinking of trying, whereby you're still on. If you're the attacker, you're still on side until there's like a clear space between any part of your body and the defender. So that means you could play on the defender's shoulder, and you could have one leg or one arm, closer to the goal, but you still wouldn't be offside. So he's going to they're thinking of trying it out to see if number one of the biggest problems about English soccer is there aren't enough goals. There are just not enough goals, which is why it's never fully taken off in the States. So it needs something. George Graham used to say, and there's a lot of sense in this as well. He used to say you should make the actual goals bigger, because goalkeepers back in the day when the Football Association started, if they were 5'8", they were tall. Now these guys are 6'4", 6'7", and the sort of goal, if you like, has shrunk. But they've got to do something about there not being enough goals scored, and certainly making it easier to not be offside helps. But I do worry that you can go pay serious money to go and watch these clubs, and it can be, don't tell me about a 0-0 draw being exciting. It isn't. If I talk about hurling now, if you go and see myself and Tim's team play, or any team playing hurling, there's constant scores, there's constant points. It's exciting. But but soccer currently, who was it won a match? Well, we did. We actually won the FA Cup against Manchester United, yeah, and it was a 0-0 draw. Yeah, do you remember? And we ended up winning it on penalties. I had my son beside me. He was a young lad at the time, and he hadn't worked out what the score was. I said, if Vieira scores this penalty, it's ours.
Yeah.
So there's something wrong with the way the sort of game is going, I think. The goalkeepers are getting bigger. The goal thereby is shrinking. And this constant VAR nonsense. And it's too open to interpretation. And it is, unfortunately, I have to say it's open to a little bit of corruption there.
And also as well, you're looking at, back in the day, it would be maybe Fergie time. But now the game will probably finish in the 98th, 99th minute. With all stoppages, looking at VAR and just one other
idea, Alex. I think that's the whole idea with the TV rights people. Just prolong the game. The more the adverts get on. And seriously, that's my way of thinking. They get more of their adverts on. Do you know what I mean? The longer it goes on, all the sponsors on around the Emirates, it's more airtime. I think they get a lot of money for it. The more airtime them sponsors get, they get so much money for it. It's unbelievable. But it's dragging on. I don't think. For me, that's killed the game. I'll go and watch
John,
it.
I don't think football as a spectacle has improved. I was talking to these lads today, funny enough, Spurs fans, and I said when I was young, I'd be going off to QPR, see QPR play. I'd go off to Fulham. I know Alex has a soft spot for Fulham, and you'd go to different grounds. Dare I say it, I'd go up to White Hart Lane. A mate of mine was a Southampton supporter, and we'd always go off to see Southampton play if they're in any part of London. And West Ham, I mean, all of us went to see West Ham play, whether they're playing Arsenal or someone else. All that's gone. All that's gone because they've hyped the game up so much that they've got massive crowds, but the spectacle hasn't improved. It's the same. I remember when I was in the West End, and if you've got a season ticket, you get a ticket for almost all the games, and I'm up there after a hard work that day, up at the crack of dawn, and I'm up there, and after the match I thought, you know what, I'll chill off with a quick pint of beer. And I went out because they chuck you out of your seat pretty quickly. And I went and got a pint. And I'm standing there on a December night, freezing cold, with a cold pint, nowhere to sit. And there was two or three other blokes there. And I'm going, this ain't fun, is it? They said, no, it's not. Mad.
But so it's designed that way, isn't it? It's designed that way, not to be cozy and homely. You know what I mean? But just one other thing about VAR. The one complaint I hear is that the people behind VAR have never played the game. So they don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
So
I don't think they even watch the game, do they? I don't know what they do, but they definitely ain't watching it.
Yeah.
And then the bit I liked the last time, that nightmare up in Newcastle, was we couldn't see where the ball was. It was and I think you must have enough cameras. Surely get three more. Are you short of dosh? No, because Newcastle
we can all see it at home. They can't see it in a room between four of them. But like Tel says, it's either corrupt or something else. Allegedly, it's corrupt.
Allegedly.
Tel,
Well,
here's a question. Here's a question here for you, Tel. It's coming from the assembly. It says,
Oh.
Tel, do you think that the players have progressed, but the game hasn't? Maybe, as you suggested, the pitch needs to be made bigger as the players are fitter and stronger.
Well, I think the players are obviously much fitter, much fitter. So therefore, they're faster. But no, in terms of skill, we had some phenomenally skillful players at Arsenal over the years. Going back to when I first started watching them with Geordie Armstrong, all those boys, Charlie George, Ray Kennedy. And then later on, we had, as the years went by, Tony Woodcock, we had some great skillful players. And then we had some big guys at the back. So I don't know, they won't be making the pitches bigger because it would cost clubs too much. Because you'd have to lose seating, and it's all about getting bums on seats, I suppose. But that I think they ought to find a way of making it easier for goals to be scored, make it a better spectacle, And this business, can I just say this, because this really annoys me. When a corner's coming over, everybody's pulling at people's shirts. Yeah, they've all got fistfuls of some bloke's shirt, and poor old Dennis Bergkamp suffered from that all the time. And I used to joke to people around me, he should be kitted out with a paper shirt, so that if anybody grabs him, they're left holding a piece of paper.
He wouldn't have a shirt left though. Tattoo the shirts on.
Didn't you see the photograph of Tierney? And he had his shirt all ripped. He's got half his chest shown.
Or they could do what them women fans do. They spray their shirt on, don't they, and walk around the Emirates Stadium with them on.
I don't know about that one.
I've seen it, yeah.
I think you're watching different videos there.
No, she's very popular now. She goes to all the games. She spray paints the shirt on and walks around the stadium.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to get that season ticket back.
I think it has boosted a few, yeah.
That if you got a cold night, that would certainly warm you up a bit.
Maybe that's what the men need to do.
Anyway, just a couple more. It goes on to say, controversy sells. VAR will be ironed out, and something else will be the problem, chaps.
Do you know, that's so true. And I used to, when I was going into work by tube, I'd get the newspaper, the free one, and I'd never read the front because that's all baloney. And I'd just start reading the soccer reports. And very few of them actually mention anything about the actual soccer, about the tactics and all that stuff. It's all about controversy, this, controversy that, should that goal have been allowed and all that. And now they'll say Ramsdale's dad's getting involved in something. So I think he's right. I think the assembled is right. It's all about controversy. I used to buy when I was working professionally in bands, and I'd buy all the music press stuff. But it's the same thing. They don't talk about the notes people are playing. They just go, Eric Clapton's got a new wife, and so they're telling you everything except the actual thing itself. And this guy is exactly right, or lady. The assembled, it's all about controversy. Stop that stuff.
This is what I'm saying, right? This VAR, PGMO, it's created a little sub-industry, like yours, that controversy. You've got that ref watch that ain't worth two bob. Then you've got all these clips going on TikTok and Twitter, all like clickbait stuff. Do you know what I mean? And then it's all going on TalkSport. They're talking more about the VAR decisions than they are about the actual game. You know what I mean? The controversy and the hype is getting more sort of publicity than the actual game of football, and it created another kind of industry, which is all wrong. Do you know what I mean? We're talking about the refs more than we are about the football or the wrong decisions. So
I'll tell you, I was round at my mate Tim's there in Ireland, and I was watching an Arsenal match, and Gary Neville was commentating, and it wasn't against Man United, and Arsenal scored, and you could hear Neville go, "Oh no." So, so he's not even neutral. Do you know? So
that's the wrong thing. Most of them pundits ain't neutral, and they make it blatantly obvious. That's all wrong, because the old commentators, you never knew they supported, did you?
Yeah.
Should I tell you my quick
You never knew
QPR
they
story?
supported, did you? They never took sides. They just got on with the commentating.
Shall I tell you, talking about not being neutral, my QPR story? We were playing QPR many years ago when Roy Wegley was their centre forward, and I had a good mate who was a journalist for a London newspaper called the London Irish News, and he was a QPR fan. He said, "Tell, do you fancy coming up and sitting in the press box at QPR?" He said, "It's free." I said, yeah, all right, Nick, I'll give it a go. So he picked me up, drove up to the ground, and I said, how do I get in? He said, I've got a press pass, just keep close behind me. So I kept close behind him, in we went. And in those days, it wasn't sort of, it's not very salubrious now, but it was just a kind of a piece of wooden board across, and you just sat down and you could put, you could write on it. You could write on a piece of paper there. And I said to Nicky, my mate, I said, listen, I'm not a journalist. I've got nothing to write on. He said, if they look at you funny, just take out a piece of paper and start scribbling on it. So this was like, we were laughing. Anyway, who's behind me but Johnny Hollins, right? He's a journalist at this stage. Roy Wegley goes and scores an absolute worldie. Hits the bar from about 35 yards and straight into the Arsenal net. And then Arsenal score 3. And that was one of our championship years. So this was right towards the end of the game, and Arsenal scored the 3rd clincher goal. And I forgot myself and stood up and went, yay! And then as I sat down, I looked behind and I could see, what's the name, looking at me, Johnny Hollins, to say, what? You're supposed to be a journalist. And then when I was leaving the ground, they had this like hut thing in there where the managers were being interviewed by journalists. So I said to my mate Nicky, can I go in and ask George Graham a question? He said, don't push it, Tell.
But lads, I mean, we talk about VAR, but hasn't there always been controversy with or without VAR? I mean, there's always been controversy, hasn't there?
Oh yeah, always.
Yeah,
but it's highlighted now on social media. They've got so many different medias, and it's highlighted. And as I say, Alex, it's become a kind of a sub sort of form of entertainment. It's fans love to moan about it, but I think the social media side of it loves it. That's why I don't think they'll ever reform the VAR, because it's making a lot of money. Do you know what I mean? If someone had a good look into it, all these extra minutes, how much money these firms sponsors are making out of it, I'll bet there's a good few.
That's true.
That's a good point, John. That's a really good point, actually.
Honestly,
let's go into live chat for the last one before we wrap up this show. Good matters. Glenn Winston said the game of football will suffer at the end of the day due to the inconsistency from all aspects of who runs the game. The Assemble says, the broadcasters love the drama. Soap operas, mates. Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Good matters. Just look at how the Italian league collapsed. Millionaire owners looking to make a quick buck and not caring about the damage being done to the game, and then moving on to the next money-making scheme. And the last one from Glenwyn says, for sure. And it will go on and on and on to the break of dawn. Tell, do you have a ditty to sing for us before we end the show?
You should have warned me, because I couldn't set the guitar up and that. I mean, as I say, I'm doing this wedding next month, and this girl that my son knows, she's marrying a Newcastle lad. So I've been doing this song, apart from Bladen Races, which is the well-known one. I've been doing what's it called? I've got it here somewhere. It's I'm coming home, Newcastle. I might as well have been in jail and all that. If you give me a second, I'll try and find it.
See, Elton's always prepared. He's always prepared, like a Boy Scout. Be prepared, always prepared.
Hang on. I've got Stargirl. I've got Waterloo Sunset.
We'll have a bit of that one then.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I've got this one to hand. as I walk these streets alone, through this borough I call home, upon the barren fields of ivory, and the stadiums of stone, through the turnstiles at the Angel, and the homeless on the green, from the Cali to the Cross, and every in between, and then everybody, North London forever. Come on, whatever the weather. It sounds like a Friday night in Finchley Park, chucking out time.
All round to John's for dinner.
Pumpkin pie.
Lovely, jubbly. So that's it, people. That's the end of this bite-sized easy talk. So LTL's off.
I'm off on a jolly up.
There you go. And John Agiza staying to have his pie, actually, I think. And I'm just going to stay here and just watch the TV. John, thanks for your time. It's been a blast, man.
Yeah, thanks for having us on. It's always a pleasure. Up the Gooners.
When are we going to meet up again, John?
Anytime you want, Alex. Maybe after Christmas now. I don't know, man. We'll have to meet up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Back up the Gunners with Una, innit?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea.
We'll sort something. That was really good, actually. Broadcasting live. I was scared, to say the least. LTL, Richard Godfather.
Yeah, it was good. It's good. My mate Tony. I've got a mate called. Actually, I've got two mates who live in the flats above the Arsenal Museum, and my mate Tony is one of them. And he said to me, "Where are you gonna watch the match tomorrow?" So I expect to be in some hostelry somewhere watching it along the Holloway Road or somewhere.
And that's it, people. You will see me. Maybe I might be doing an instant post-game reaction tomorrow. But from this easy talk here and from the Lighty lads, that's it. That's the end. So no song tell whilst we oh, is that it?
Right, now I'll finish it with this Newcastle one. I found it.
Lovely
I'm
job.
Coming home, Newcastle. I might as well have been in jail. I'd walk the streets all day. I'll need for a bottle of your old brown ale. I'm coming home, Newcastle, 'cause I couldn't find a job, but I don't intend to stay long. If I make a few quick bob, it's cold up there in summer. I'm not the tune too well. I'm sitting inside a fridge, but I wish I was on the Quayside, looking at the old time bridge. I'm coming home, Newcastle. There you go.
Anyway, guys, this has been Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over this world. Away the lads!
Danny boy!
Number one.